There are far, far better things ahead than any we leave behind. Love is not affectionate feeling, but a steady wish for the loved person's ultimate good as far as it can be obtained. Someday you will be old enough to start reading fairy tales again. Being in love is a good thing, but it is not the best thing. There are many things below it, but there are also things above it. You cannot make it the basis of a whole life. Love may forgive all infirmities and love still in spite of them, but love cannot cease to will their removal. Friendship is unnecessary, like philosophy, like art. It has no survival value. Rather, it is one of those things which give value to survival. Do not waste time bothering whether you love your neighbor. Act as if you did. As soon as we do this, we find one of the great secrets. When you are behaving as if you love someone, you will presently come to love him. If we find ourselves with a desire that nothing in this world can satisfy, the most probable explanation is that we were made for another world. To love at all is to be vulnerable. Love anything and your heart will be wrung and possibly broken. If you want to make sure of keeping it intact, you must give it to no one, not even an animal. Wrap it carefully round with hobbies and little luxuries. Avoid all entanglements. Lock it up safe in the casket or coffin of your selfishness. But in that casket, safe, dark, motionless, airless, it will change. It will not be broken. It will become unbreakable, impenetrable, irredeemable. To love is to be vulnerable. Friendship is born at that moment when one person says to another, "What, you too? I thought I was the only one." Being in love first moved them to promise fidelity. This quieter love enables them to keep the promise. They can have this love for each other even at those moments when they do not like each other. As you love yourself even when you do not like yourself, they can retain this love even when each would easily, if they allowed themselves, be in love with someone else. Being in love first moved them to promise fidelity. This quieter love enables them to keep the promise. It is on this love that the engine of marriage is run. Being in love was the explosion that started it. To love at all is to be vulnerable. Of course, ceasing to be in love need not mean ceasing to love. Love in this second sense, love as distinct from being in love, is not merely a feeling. It is a deep unity maintained by the will and deliberately strengthened by habit. Reinforced by in Christian marriage is the grace which both partners ask and receive from God. You have not chosen one another, but I have chosen you for one another. Gratitude looks to the past and love to the present. Fear, avarice, lust, and ambition look ahead. And in fact, whatever people say, the state called being in love usually does not last. If the old fairy tale ending "they lived happily ever after" is taken to mean they felt for the next 50 years exactly as they felt the day before they were married, then it says what probably never was nor ever would be true, and would be highly undesirable if it were. Who could bear to live in that excitement for even 5 years? What would become of your work, your appetite, your sleep, your friendships? Affection is responsible for 9/10 of whatever solid and durable happiness there is in our lives. Affection is responsible for 9/10 of whatever solid and durable happiness there is in our natural lives. To love at all is to be vulnerable. Do not let your happiness depend on something you may lose. Love is something more stern and splendid than mere kindness. Love is never wasted, for its value does not rest upon reciprocity. The heart never takes the place of the head, but it can, and should, obey it. Love is something more stern and splendid than mere kindness. There are far, far better things ahead than any we leave behind. In our own case, we accept excuses too easily. In other people's, we do not accept them easily enough. You don't have a soul. You are a soul. You have a body. It is that of an unsatisfied desire which is itself more desirable than any other satisfaction. Spiteful words can hurt your feelings, but silence breaks your heart. My will shall become your will. My heart shall become your heart. Falling in love is something that happens to us. Being is love is something we do. No passion is self-preservatory. If you love deeply, you're going to get hurt badly, but it's still worth it. Why love if losing hurts so much? We love to know that we are not alone. Love is unselfishly choosing for another's highest good. You ask whether I have ever been in love, fool as I am. I am not such a fool as that. The most precious gift that marriage gave me was the constant impact of something very close and intimate, yet all the time unmistakably other, resistant, in a word, real. I am in love, and out of it I will not go. Love is the great conqueror of lost. You can't go back and change the beginning, but you can start where you are and change the ending. If you never take risks, you'll never accomplish great things. Everybody dies, but not everyone has lived. Love is more than an emotion, it is a decision. We all agree that forgiveness is a beautiful idea until we have to practice it. Or pride is spiritual cancer. It eats up the very possibility of love, or contentment, or even common sense.